I'm Becca. I'm trying to learn social psychology today, cultural influence, and it's part of conformity. And also conformity, so cultural influence, conformity, cultural influence of social psychology. And after that, leg injury prevention training, and if you participate in the leg injury prevention training, is better to honest. So it's a longer chapter which we're reading here. And we're having our next section of cultural influences. The book is US American, I think, and from the 90s. Cultural influences. Cultures vary in their implicit rules of conduct or social norms. And Raja Excel's bestseller Do's and Taboos Around the World travelers are warned about some of these differences. Thine is an Indian home, for example, and you should leave food on the plate to show the host that the portions were generous and that you had enough to eat. Yet as a dinner guest in Bolivia, you show your appreciation by cleaning your plate, and in Saudi Arabia, you should stuff yourself. So what is mentioned here, what is basically explained here, that people have in different places, in general, different cultures. And as an example is one book named, and in that book is stated that there are people, for example, usually in India, leaving something on the plate to indicate that it was enough to eat, that something even stays over, that it was enough and not too little. Or in Bolivia, that the people are eating it completely, and in Saudi Arabia, that they try to eat a second plate or something. Shop in an outdoor market in Iraq, and you should expect to negotiate the price of everything you buy. Plan an appointment in Brazil, and the person you schedule to meet is likely to be late. Nothing personal. Even the way so we're talking probably about human beings in general, space ourselves from each other is culturally determined. Americans, Canadians, Germans, British and Northern Europeans keep a polite distance between themselves and others and feel crowded by the touchier, nose-to-nose style of the French, Greeks, Arabs, Mexicans and people of South America. So we're saying here that they have some indications, is indicated that they have indications which is saying that people from certain countries have different cultural behavior. For example, how close they sit to each other. Just as cultures differ in their social norms, so too they differ in the extent to which people adhere to those norms. As we saw in chapter 2, which we didn't read, we just skipped them all. Maybe you're going to do it later. There are two different cultural orientations toward person and their relationships to groups. Some cultures value individualism and the virtues of independence, autonomy and self-reliance, while others value collectivism and the virtues of interdependence, cooperation and social harmony. Under the banner of individualism, personal goals take priority over group allegiances. Yet in collectivistic cultures, the person is, first and foremost, a loyal member of a family, team, company, church and state. So by saying that there are first differences in different countries, for example, or in different cultures, how people are sitting together, how we eat or something, and then also are there differences in how much the people adhere to these social rules, and also how they see themselves. I don't know if it's not completely the second point or something, but in some cultures the people are more targeted on individualism, so that they're having independence, autonomy and self-reliance, and others more on collectivism, that the family, team, company, church and state are important. Cooperation, social harmony, interdependence. What determines whether a culture becomes individualistic or collectivistic? Speculating on the origins of these orientations, Harry Trines suggests that there are three key factors. Okay, someone is speculating in 1994 that there are three main reasons why there are differences in some cultures. Some are determining on. Let's try to understand what the differences are. Individualism, personal goals. Personal goals are important, more important than in other ones, group allegiances. So, in the first one is the complexity of a society. As people live in more complex industrialized societies, compared, for example, to a life of food gathering among desert nomads, there are more groups to identify with, which means less loyalty to any one group and a great focus on personal rather than collective goals. So we're saying that some people are living in bigger societies. They're not living together with 10, 20 or maybe 30 or 50 people, but with hundreds of thousands. So it is not really able to identify with one group. Second is the affluence of society, and I don't know what it means, but let me explain it. As people begin to prosper, they gain financial independence from each other, a condition that promotes social independence as well as mobility and a focus on personal rather than collective goals. So we're saying if a person gets more financial independence, they are themselves getting more independent and becoming less dependent of a group or interdependent of a group. The third factor is heterogeneity. Societies that are homogeneous or tight, their members share the same language, religion, and social customs, tend to be rigid and intolerant of those who veer from the norm. Societies that are culturally diverse or loose, where two or more cultures coexist, are more permissive of dissent, thus allowing for more individual expression. So we're saying some cultures are living together in one group of 10 people, all the same religion, language, social customs, whereas other people are living together in larger groups with people with different languages, religions, social customs or something. Research shows that autonomy and independence are most highly valued in the United States, Australia, Great Britain, Canada, and the Netherlands in that order. So the person is autonomous on their own making decisions and independence, that the person is able to follow through with these independent decisions or autonomous decisions. And in contrast, many cultures of Asia, Africa, and South America value interpersonal harmony and conformity, fitting in for the sake of a community. Among the Bantu of Zimbabwe, for example, an African tribe in which acts of non-conformity are severely punished, 51% of the subjects placed in an Solomon Ash situation conformed, more than the approximately 30% typical in the United States. So they are saying Solomon Ash showed lines. The people were asked which line is the same length as the shown length, and then suddenly all the people that was with them, I don't know the word for it, it was planned with them, they're suddenly saying all the wrong answer. And it was more likely by people from the Bantu people in Zimbabwe that they then said then what the other people said was true as with the people from the United States of America. And here is then indicated through that, through what we're saying here, that means the people try stronger to fit in, to be more conform with a group with which they are together. In fact, John Barry compared subjects from 17 cultures and found that conformity rates range from a low of 18% among Eskimo hunters of Baffin Island to a high of 60% among village-living Temne farmers of West Africa. Okay. I don't know if it is about it or not. These photographs were taken of average income families posing in front of their homes and material possessions, representing the individualistic orientation common among affluent societies in the Skene family of Pearland in Texas. The top one is in Texas. And representing the collectivistic orientation found in more impoverished societies in the Natoma family of Coakura in Mali, so in northwestern Africa. That's the long one. No, they are both, the people both on the pictures are smiling, which can't be seen on the lower one because they are far away, but both are happy and smiling. Now, that was the end of that part. In the next part, we're going to read on with minority influence. That was not the social psychology. If you were here for social psychology, you can already read to the next part, where we will read on, and then at some time we're going to go back to that part of cultural influence, read it again, then knowing a bit more about the other things said, and try to make a presentation which you just say what was argued where. If you stay here and participate in the leg injury prevention training, have a good standing leg and swing the leg in front and to the side. And the other leg in front and to the side. And the foot in front and back. And the other foot in front and back. And now one leg up to the outside, breathe in, middle and down. Other leg up to the outside, breathe in, middle and down. One leg up, hands out, across, and up again, middle and down. Other leg up, across, middle, across, middle and down. One leg to the side, lift the leg off the ground, place it again onto the ground. And the other leg to the side. One hand on tummy, one on lower back. Lift one leg in a straight line up. Try to lift the leg higher and pull the toes in. And pull the leg. The other leg. Try to bring the leg higher and pull the toes in. And stand good on one leg, turn over to the leg, down, over again, and up. Other leg onto the ground, turn over, down, over, and up. Stand good on one leg, reach in front and to the other directions, all in imaginary 90-minute intervals on an imaginary dial of a clock. And to the other. 12 o'clock, 1:30 and 3, 10:30 and 9 o'clock, 7:30 and 6 o'clock, 4:30 and 3 o'clock. One heel onto the ground. Don't do it if you're pregnant. Lift that heel off the ground and place it again onto the ground. Other leg. And the torso pointing to the outside, breathe in the arms up. Out, sink down. Hands onto the ground, cover the back up. And roll slowly with the round back up. Leg at the top of backwards, shoulder roll. The arms up. And sink down again. Hands onto the ground, cover the round back up. And roll slowly up at the top of the backward shoulder roll. And the leg up. And lean back, arms to the side, and down again. And pull the leg in and out. And down. And the other leg up. And lean in front. And again back. And now if you like, if you can, one leg stands good. And swing it back. And two more. And the other leg. And last two. And the legs to the sides, breathing it out. In and up. Out, breathe in and close the legs. And again out. It was the leg injury prevention training. I thank you very much.